Hi, this is Alan from Alpus Group, and I'm going to talk to you today about, is the UK facing a renting crisis? So we all know that the UK housing market has been the subject of much debate in recent years, with concerns mounting over the increasing cost of home ownership and the challenges faced by renters. It's been at a crisis level for many years, and successive governments have failed to act decisively to solve the problem. The reality is that the UK needs more than 2 million small family unit homes. One question that has frequently been raised is whether the UK is facing a renting crisis, and the answer is a resounding yes, because there's a complete lack of affordable housing. So rising rents and affordability is the issue. One of the most pressing issues facing renters in the UK is the steady rise in rental prices. Just over the last year or so, there's been more than a 10% rise in rental prices across the board. Some of them have gone up 20%. In many parts of the country, rents have outpaced wage growth, making it increasingly difficult for individuals and families to afford a decent place to live. So this has led to a growing number of people struggling with housing costs and facing a risk of homelessness. No-fault evictions are a particular bone of contention because renters can have their rent paid satisfactorily but find themselves the subject of an eviction order because the landlord wants the property back so as to provide short-term rentals or holiday lets or another strategy like houses of multiple occupation. So many local authorities have cracked down on this by making certain areas subject to Article 4 regulation, meaning you must apply for planning permission in order to change your house into an HMO. But in many areas, the horse has already bolted the stable, so it's too late. Effectively, what's needed is a satisfaction of the high demand for housing. So the shortage of affordable housing has been a significant contributing factor to the rising cost of rents. The UK has experienced a decline in housing construction over the past several decades, particularly in the affordable housing sector, that is what used to be council housing. This, coupled with growing population and increased demand for rental accommodation, has created a mismatch between supply and demand. Property developers avoid developing affordable housing because they cannot make the same profit margins that are possible on normal private sector housing for sale. So the impact on renters is that there's been a profound effect on the lives of many renters. It can lead to financial stress, limiting individuals' ability to save a deposit on a home or afford for other essential expenses because they're paying such high rents. Additionally, the pressure to keep up with rising rents can force people to accept substandard living accommodation or crowding into smaller spaces, i.e. more people sharing houses or rooms. The government needs to address this critical issue in our society, otherwise there will be a continual increase in mental health issues faced by young people having to cope with job uncertainty, high rents and the lack of affordable housing, meaning they will be in their 30s or 40s being able to afford a home if ever they could afford one. So government policies and interventions in response to the affordable housing crisis, the UK government has implemented various policies and interventions aimed at addressing the housing market. These include housing benefit, a government benefit that helps low-income households meet their housing costs, affordable housing schemes, initiatives to encourage the development of affordable housing, such as shared ownership and affordable rent, although there are just not enough of them, and rent controls, restrictions on rent increases in certain areas. But this is not really very effective because landlords will find ways to circumvent these regulations. Basically, they haven't addressed the underlying issue of insufficient housing. So the future of the rental market is a complex issue with no easy solutions. And whilst the government has taken steps to address the problem, more needs to be done to increase the supply of affordable housing and improve the conditions for renters. It's likely that the rental market will continue to evolve in the coming years as the population grows and the demand for housing increasing. increases, it's essential that policymakers and industry workers work together to find sustainable solutions that ensure everyone has access to affordable and decent housing. Holiday lets in tourist destinations is another problem, with whole villages bought up by wealthy property investors to rent out as holiday lets, leaving no affordable homes in certain communities. So, in conclusion, the UK is undoubtedly facing a significant challenge in terms of affordable housing, and it has a rental crisis, there's no doubt. Well, there's no consensus on whether this constitutes a full rental crisis. It's clear many individuals and families are struggling to meet their housing costs. So addressing this issue will require a multifaceted approach that involves government intervention, increased investment in affordable housing from the private sector, and a focus on improving the conditions for renters. Now, at Alpus, we believe in creative finance, and we can help you to find a rental property that will ultimately become your own home, owned by you outright. So if you would like to become a homeowner, you're not on the home ownership ladder at the moment, then talk to Alpus about our rent-to-buy agreements now. So if you'd like to discuss how you can avoid the UK renting crisis and rent, then buy your own home from Alpus, do not hesitate to call me, that's Alan, on 07539 141 257 or 0333 224 1257. You can call from outside the UK on +44 7539 141 257 or +44 333 224 1257. You can schedule a call with me at calendly.com/AlanJE or drop an email to alan@alpusgroup.com. Cheers for now.